right, welcome back to another episode of the Karter Cast. I'm your host, Karter Baughan. With me, as always, Dylan, Connor. We're back. Thanksgiving. We probably had a great Thanksgiving, everyone. College basketball. Let's get this out of the way. I'll tell you right now. Feast week killed me. I thought I could get out alive, and I didn't. I gave up. I died. I said, nope, we're putting in the towel. College basketball got the best of me. Feast week killed everyone. I just see on my Twitter, everyone's like, retired. And I'm like, well, all right. Great weekend in college football. Great weekend in the NFL. Dylan, Michigan won. I know we'll get into that at the end of the show, but what a weekend for you. I mean, it could not have been a more Dylan weekend. Packers win, Titans win, Michigan wins over Ohio State. I mean, it's literally, the holy trifecta of Dylan.
I walked into Thanksgiving at my in-laws' house Thursday at around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and the first thing I said to my mother-in-law is, this is the start of the greatest 4-day stretch in the year. Like, Thanksgiving to yesterday is just awesome. You have Thanksgiving, you have Black Friday, you got Ohio State, Michigan, you have more football. Like, it is perfect as it is, and how everything played out, it just got, infinitesimally better. Like, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Dylan Thesaurus Wilkerson. All right.
Wow, yeah, that was impressive. Okay, Dylan, pull it out of the hat there. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right, but anyhow, look, should we just get right into it?
Let's do it.
I think we can. I hope you guys.
I feel like there's a good chunk of people. They're like, oh, the giveaway. $100 giveaway. That's at the end of the show, buddy. Check the timestamps. I'll put it in there. Don't worry. I won't screw you guys. I won't screw you guys that much. But check the timestamps. It'll be at the very end of the show. That's the rundown for today. We're going to talk about the NFL. We're going to recap some games. We're going to talk about this past weekend, and then especially Panthers Titans. That's what we'll start with. And then college football, Ohio State, Michigan. And we have a college football playoff scenario, a disaster one. Connor, you sent it in to us. I'll put it on the show graphic as well if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, and we'll discuss that. But let's start off. Panthers Titans. Panthers lose 10-17 in Nashville. I think both quarterbacks played meh, as the kids like to say, mid, really. But Panthers Titans, yes, I lose the giveaway. Yes, we made that bet in July. Dumb bet by me, whatever, it happens. I'm giving $100 away to a fan at the end of the show. Dylan, I'll let you start here.
Yeah, so I'll be 100% honest. I was watching this game, and it almost kind of stinks that there was not one quarterback that pulled away. Like, you look at the box score, and they were almost like copy and paste one from another. Because now it's like we really don't get to give each other a hard time, right? We can get into the Will Levis, causing Frank Reich to lose his job. We can get into
I love that. That's a great,
I
win that one. Win-win. That's our only win-win.
That's fair, but now you're getting into questions about the program itself. And, I see you, Karter, talking about your owner and how, he's not giving anybody time to – that's all I saw today. What is it? Is it Tepper?
David Tepper.
Tepper, just Ron Rivera out in the middle of the year, Matt Rule out in the middle of the year, not giving these coaches time. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But it is kind of fun to see the aftermath of losing to the Titans, and it's just organizational chaos. There are some people out there, I don't know who, misdrafted. There's talks about misdrafting, and you picked the wrong guy at 1. Will Levis was there at 1. Levis was there.
He's also there at 32, and
you can't even do that.
Well, Will Levis
said they both played the same. Also, let's be real. We're not doing crazy stuff. Whatever. They played basically the same game, and the overlying difference was Panthers pass rush and defense just couldn't handle Derrick Henry. That's what the game turned out to be.
I don't know what you want me to say. You're right. We ran the ball pretty well. I would say probably the best we ran it this year. But I wish one of them would have pulled away. When I left, when the game was over Sunday, I was like, that was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, well,
I have nothing to hang my hat on, really.
That's been 10 Sundays for me this year. So
yeah, I'm with you on that one, Dylan. It was a depressing game. We came on here last week and we were like, oh, it'd be awesome if it was just a shootout and both quarterbacks had a coming out party and a lot of points. It wasn't. It was depressing. 3 and out, bad plays. Levis should have thrown a couple of picks. Bryce Young obviously had that fumble. Yeah. Well, you
should have, would have, could have. We talked about should have interceptions on here already, but.
Yeah, turnover-worthy plays. I know you guys love that at action. But I don't know. It was just a depressing game. I came out of that feeling worse about the Panthers. I was like, man, 10 points on the Titans. what are we doing? The play calling is horrible. The 2-minute drill at the end, the screen call, 4th and 6. We knew they were bringing the house. That was brutal. I mean, that was just absolutely brutal. And I left that like, I probably just wasted 3 hours of my life. Like, I was all excited. I was like, this is the podcast Super Bowl, Dylan versus me and Karter, Titans, Panthers. And it was just a waste of time. It was a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you get excited for a big movie, you're like, oh, wow, it's, a Christopher Nolan movie, and you go to it, and you're like,
You're like, man.
I don't know, man. Like, Panthers Titans, like, I know we're probably the only show in the world that would ever start with this game that's not a Panthers or Titans fan podcast, but
that's the A block. And now the producers are breathing down our neck because we're not getting any ratings.
I know. Yeah, I know. There's really not much more to talk about in that game necessarily, other than, like, hey, Panthers O-line. Dylan, I did want to ask you this, though. You finally saw the Panthers O-line in action.
Mm-hmm.
It's rough, isn't it?
I mean, it is, but you got Jeffrey Simmons coming at you, so it's like, is the Panthers O line that bad? Is the Titans pass rush that good? It's a little give and take.
But but if it happens against every single opponent, I think it becomes the O line's bad. But you know what I love? Now that Frank Reich is fired, we're recording right now Monday, 6:20 Eastern time. Now that Frank Reich is fired, this offensive line's going to just play like how they did last season after Matt Rule left, and all of a sudden we're just going to see them play hard and like, oh wait, these guys were here the whole time. They're not that bad. That's the frustrating part. But like I mentioned, Frank Reich fired earlier this morning. It was coming. We knew. They cleaned out some other coaches as well.
Yeah,
I don't think the Frank Reich firing matters that much in Carolina.
Can I break some news?
What?
Can I break some news? Update. Fox analyst and former Panthers Pro Bowl tight end Greg Olsen would be interested in the Panthers head coaching position, sources tell Joseph Person.
I mean, we could.
That's actually legit.
Is that legit? What do we think about that, boys?
I mean, I'm sure he's interested. It's just a matter of, is Greg Olsen going to be a head coach in the league? I mean, is this kind of like the Jeff Saturday situation? He's been in the booth for the last 3 years.
Do you want him?
Yes.
I mean,
Carter's bought in.
That'd be awesome.
Well, because the other thing is, this is what I was going to get to, is the overarching issue is that David Tepper is not going to be able to recruit a real head coach. If you're Ben Johnson, if you're Sean McDermott, if he gets fired in Buffalo, you're Brian Flores, you're not going to want to play for David Tepper. It's the least desirable job in the NFL right now. Outside, the only thing Carolina really has going for them is they're in a really bad division. That's the best part. They have a decent defense and a really bad division. So you're going to have to go outside the box with a guy like Luke Kuechly or Greg Olsen for the hire. To be honest, why not? Why not run with Greg Olsen at this point?
Well, I mean, at least he would have the locker room. I think the guys would listen to him. They would respect him. He's been out there. It's kind of like the Steve Wilkes thing, or it's like the Raiders, interim coach right now.
Well, it's hilarious. Like David Tepper basically came out and said, he's like, yeah, we put this guy in charge because we don't want another Steve Wilkes situation. We don't want this guy to be a head coach. We just want him to just be the substitute teacher until the real teacher comes back.
I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head, Carter. David Tepper's the overarching problem here, and I tweeted it out today. Eventually, they're going to run out of people to blame, and eventually it's just going to be like, you know what? Maybe I'm not cut out for this NFL owner thing. Or he's going to have to change his ways or something, because whatever he's doing is not working. And Fitterer's got to be the next one gone.
No, you don't just not be an NFL owner. You can't fire the owner. That's the classic saying.
I know.
You can't fire the owner. He ain't ever leaving, so you just got to
look in the mirror.
With it. Greg Olsen, why not? Dylan, great news. That was a great news drop.
What can I say? I had to redeem myself. What am I batting? 333? That's Hall of Fame numbers.
That's Hall of Fame. Yeah.
You could see the disappointment in my face. Like, oh my gosh, is he just gonna say something? You know what? But no, great job. I'm not anti-Dylan. I'm not.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
Putting 4
see.
on Michigan. Oh yeah, no, been a Michigan man.
Just because you're pro Michigan doesn't mean you're pro Dylan. You're using me. You're using me for my fandom.
No.
Yep, just like that girl in high school when I got my license. Oh, Dylan. Oh, I love you, Dylan. Carter.
I love it. Real quick, I know we just talked Greg Olsen real quick. My quick wish list for the Panthers. Number 1, Sean McDermott. I'm rooting heavily against Buffalo right now. Yes, I said they would make the playoffs. Obviously, Sean McDermott probably wouldn't go to Carolina. He's had his pick of the litter of any job he wants outside of Buffalo. But if the Bills do miss the playoffs, he's got to be gone, right?
No.
He's fired his offensive coordinator. He's fired his defensive coordinator. It's got to be on him, right?
I don't know if it's the right call, but I do feel like that's the direction it's heading.
They would
if they
make
miss the
that
playoffs.
change. They're too good. Dylan, why do you say
so
no?
what have the Bills' problems been this year? I don't want to get too far on a tangent, but what has been the issue with the Buffalo Bills?
Josh Allen decision-making, turnovers.
It's not coaching. It's Josh Allen turning over the ball in primetime games at poor times, right? And I know we'll talk about Bills-Eagles, but you guys watch that game. You know exactly what I'm going to say. If McDermott gets fired, he has no business getting fired. That is the owner saying, we want something new. It would not be justified.
And sometimes that's what they need. Sometimes that's just the direction that we got. We've seen NFL owners do this all the time, even when we think a coach doesn't deserve to be fired. Maybe they need to be back one more year. Maybe it's not all their fault, but we see time and time again, they just want to shake things up and get a change. They're like, we didn't meet expectations. Something's got to change. So that's the next domino to fall. Like you said, Karter.
You see that all the time in the NBA. Like the Toronto Raptors, when they fired Dwayne Casey, everyone's like, this guy won Coach of the Year. They were a 1 seed in the East. Obviously, you could tell he was never getting over that hump. You get Nick Nurse in, you win a title. But, Dylan, I agree with you. I don't think they should fire McDermott, even if they do miss the playoffs. I don't think it's on him, but I think that's just the nature of the business, and that's what happens. Their next 5 games, at Chiefs, home Cowboys, at Chargers, home Patriots, at Dolphins.
It's tough.
That's 2 and 3?
I don't
I'd
think
say
so.
3-2. 3-2.
Yeah, 3-2, 4-1.
But 9 and 8's not going to get you that wild card spot in the AFC, I don't think, because they don't have the tiebreakers over a good amount of those.
They have to go 4-1 in the last 5.
The Broncos are going to have that tiebreaker over them. Did they play the Texans this year? I don't believe they did.
No, I don't think so. But if we think the Dolphins are going to fall apart and they can beat the Dolphins, they have the tiebreaker again. I mean, they beat them twice. The division isn't even really out of their reach.
Yeah, but that at Miami though, that's a tough game in January.
That's a tough game in January. It's warm.
Yes. I know, that's the thing. Everyone knows it's tricky playing in Florida in December, January.
Well, 75 degrees and sunny sounds like it's really going to trip people up.
But coming
from
Dylan,
15 below in Buffalo with 2 feet of snow.
Yeah,
Dylan, you don't remember Dolphins Pats at the end of
I do. I have a story about that I can't tell on this, but yes, I do remember that because I wagered on Miami money line 10-1. It was 2018, 19.
Yes,
I can't remember.
was.
Fitzmagic was quarterback.
Yeah. That's why. It's just weird stuff like that happens in Miami.
But you do
wintertime.
But add the context. In that situation, the Pats were already in the playoffs. They locked up whatever they locked up. The Dolphins were out of it.
The reverse thing could actually happen to prove your point is that the Dolphins might already be in the playoffs and the Bills are playing for that playoff spot. So
that's true.
Week 18, 17, whatever, the last week of the season, always just like whatever. Like it's kind of an asterisk.
Yeah.
Last thing, Brian Flores. I know texted Brian about this. Brian Flores is like the realistic option I like, but I just don't think it happens because why would he want to come to Carolina?
What about that tweet that said Nick Saban or Harbaugh? Like, come on,
RG3.
We've done the college to NFL thing, and I know Nick Saban's not Matt Rule, but but
Harbaugh was successful in the NFL.
Harbaugh, that would be like one of the only ones I would consider as like a
Harbaugh
good
played
option.
for the Panthers. Like it's perfect
the Saban one was what I thought was funny. That's why I sent it. I was like, oh yeah, Nick Saban wants to leave his dynasty that he has in Alabama to go coach the Panthers. Yeah.
When he's what, 75? What is he right now?
Yeah. Talk about. And that's another thing when it comes to these old coaches too. I think that's something we have to focus on too. Is I don't know if these players relate. Like we're talking about Belichick, I don't think these players relate to these guys anymore.
That's actually a good point.
Mac Brown's time in Carolina might be done on that same wavelength. I'm just saying, it's coming to a close.
Is Ryan Day sneaky 75 years old?
Ryan, yeah, he might be.
Those
born on third. I'll tell you that.
You know what would be the worst case scenario for the Panthers?
What?
If they hired Dabo Swinney.
Coach Sweeney got that drip.
That would be something they would do.
But like they just throw the bag. They're like Dabo Swinney program, culture builder, program builder.
Look what he did at Clemson. Ignore the last 3 years.
I don't think there is a more anti-NFL guy than Dabo Swinney.
I agree. Just everything the NFL stands for, I feel like he would hate.
Like I don't think there's as these premier college football coaches, I don't think there's a worse one. Let's move on. We talk too much about the Panthers. They stink. Eagles 37, Bills 34 in overtime. Whoa, wow. The Eagles just somehow do it again. It's just every week. I want to lead with this question. Are the Eagles more so like last year's Vikings, Or are they more so like those Tom Brady Patriots where they play close regular season games and get it done, and they're going to be in the Super Bowl? Like, there's kind of that weird balance.
That's a tough question. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say they're like last year's Vikings, but it sure does seem like they've been getting a lot of things to fall in their favor as far as just like lucky dominoes. You look at the stats, the Bills were in control of that game.
Wet field goal. A 59-yard wet field goal.
Yeah, the Bills were in control of that game. I mean, I don't understand it. Josh Allen looked comfortable for a lot of the game. There was some decisive runs. He was physical. He sought out contact. He looked a lot better. And then in my mind, as a Bills backer on that game, I was like, finally, like this is the Josh Allen that I've been wanting to see. Big game, wet, just grinded out game. He was hitting guys going into the end zone. And then somehow, some way, the Eagles pull it out again. And I don't know if that's luck. I mean, some would argue it's luck. I don't think it's as far as the Vikings last year, but I also don't feel as confident in them definitely making the Super Bowl like those Tom Brady Patriots teams.
Okay, let me rephrase it then. Is it more luck, or are they the team of destiny?
Dylan, I'll let you start.
Yeah, I'm not a team of destiny guy. I don't think that's a thing. But
manifest destiny? Manifest destiny?
Well, manifest destiny is a little different, but I don't know if I think there's like a team of destiny. Here's what I'll say. You guys saw all my tweets, whatever. It's as a fan or as if you're not betting or you have no interest in really seeing how good these teams actually are, winning games is the end all be all. It doesn't matter how you win the game. It doesn't matter how you look when you win the game. It doesn't matter if you think you can consistently win games playing the way that you're playing. Wins matter, and that's it. In the NFL, if you want to win a Super Bowl, you just win games. And for some people, that's a part of the process. That's a part of looking at a team and saying, well, this team has something. Maybe it's Karter. Maybe it's a little dog. Maybe it's a little dog. But in our business, right? We come on this show every week and we want to talk about what teams are good, what teams are bad. Do the Eagles find ways to win? Sure, they have so far. It comes off the back of Tyler Bass going 2 for 4 from field goals. I want you guys to tell me, what are the odds that Tyler Bass goes 50% every single game from his field goals for the rest of the season? It's very low. Don't answer it. It's very low.
It won't happen again. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't want to take anything away from the Eagles because, like I said, they win the games. That's what matters if you're a fan. Mark in Philly, he said something about me hating on the Eagles. I'm not hating on the Eagles. I'm just saying I am betting a lot of money on the 49ers next week because the Eagles have 4 instances this year where they've gotten away with stuff. You think about week 1 against the Pats. The Pats had that game locked up. If it wasn't for Mac Jones being a bad quarterback, they let the Patriots offense, hold their hand and walk them down the field. Like the second game against the Commanders, overtime, they had no business winning that game. Cowboys, no business winning that game. Yesterday, no business winning that game.
Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that. It's Marquez Valdez-Scantling, one drop away from losing that game.
Wide open.
It's, again, not taking anything away from the Eagles. They win games. They have something. But you'll see when we do our rankings, I have the Eagles as the 6th best team. The 49ers are much better than this Eagles team. Now, with that being said, I don't think the Eagles are as bad as the Vikings team from last year. I think that they are much better. We can't make that comparison. But there is an element here where Josh Allen gets horse collar tackled, and somehow it's an intentional grounding. There were 2 missed defensive pass interference calls very close to the end of the game, overtime. Fun fact, I know I'm rambling here. Bills' total EPA from pass and run plays yesterday, over 15. The Eagles, just over 2. That tells you where the Eagles are making up their ground. The Bills, costly penalties. You go through, you see any chunk play, not false start, holding or something like that brings it back. And you could argue that is something that goes against the Bills, right? Because they need to be able to tighten that up. You can't be doing that if you want to drive down the field. Long story short, I'm betting against the Eagles this week. I'm going to keep doing it. It's nothing against the Eagles, but the way they're winning these games, it's not sustainable.
Are the Eagles your new Washington Huskies?
I don't even know if I want to say that. Washington and Florida State have lost me so much money. Maybe I should learn something, but man, oh man. I saw this on Twitter. someone put together the worst 10-1 teams by DVOA. That's like
I saw that.
Yeah, they're the third worst 10-1 team in the history of the NFL.
And I saw
according to DVOA.
Only one of the teams on that graphic won a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, lost divisional round, lost conference championship. A bunch of people losing in the divisional round. Like, it's just the nature of this. You win games, that's great. Is it sustainable? Can you keep doing it? Right. And if you ask me that about the Eagles, no, it's not. It's just not.
I think the Eagles are viewed differently just because they've been there before. We saw them in Super Bowl last year. You know, they've had those runs. We know they're a good team in our heart. We didn't think that about the Vikings last year. Nobody was sitting there saying, oh, the Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl. They weren't even in the conversation, even with all those wins. So with the Eagles, you look at them differently. You're forced to look at them differently. But with all these close wins, it really seems like they capitalize on other teams' mistakes. And it's mistakes we don't usually see those other teams making. And yes, there's a factor, like Hurts had to come down and win the game last night. Yep. That's a factor. He did have to do that. But all these other teams are making these mistakes. What happens when they don't? What happens when Josh Allen leads them down for a touchdown in overtime and it's over? Or they don't hit a 60-yard field goal in the pouring rain? That's a loss. So I'm with you, Dylan. I love the Niners next week. And people are always saying, oh, the Eagles this, Eagles that. I think the Niners are going to come in there and make a statement. I think they're the better team. I really do. As of right now, they're the better team.
Here's a question. It comes down to high leverage situations, right? So I'm just making this up. This isn't from a game or anything. You play against a team that goes, let's say 1 for 3 in the red zone, 1 for 3 on fourth down, and they lose the game. Are they going to go 1 for 3 in the red zone every game? Probably not.
Think so.
Like, you wouldn't think so. So those are the things you have to consider. Like, it's great that it happened against your team, right? You can celebrate the win. You could even say you stopped them, and it was your doing, and it wasn't the other team losing the game, which is fine. We have metrics where we can sort that out. But that's the question we have to be asking. And to me, the answer is not that the Eagles are a 10-1 team. They're good. They're just getting, I hate to say the L word, but it's kind of luck. It's kind of luck.
Mm-hmm. You know what? It's funny that we always glance over. The Niners didn't have a quarterback in the NFC Championship game. Like, that's just not talked about anymore.
Oh, well, is it?
See that actual game?
Is it Josh Sweat that said something today about all the 49ers fans were complaining because they said they would have beat him if they had their quarterback and X, Y, and Z? Like, now we get to see, right? We get to see it this week.
I'm very excited.
It seems like
with all that being said, I'm on the Niners too. But Connor, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, last thing I'll say on this, Dylan. You mentioned about all these teams, like, they probably won't go 1 for 3 in the red zone every week. It seems like, here's an example: Riverboat Ron Rivera didn't go for 2 to try to beat him, and then they went to overtime. Dak Prescott, big mistake into the game in that Cowboys game. Like, it seems like all these teams are having those flub up moments against the Eagles. Like, yes, we expect those teams to have those moments, but not all against the same team. Like, it's weird that the Eagles are the common denominator here, to where these other teams are shooting themselves in the foot and they're the ones benefiting from it. But we look at them differently. Nobody wants to say they're lucky because we've seen them in the playoffs. Yep. We know they're a good team, but nobody wants to say they're lucky like the Vikings last year.
The Cowboys is the best example of this because you had Dak that steps out early. You have Schoonmaker that catches the ball right. I mean, he just a half a step back at the touchdown. You have the game-ending pass where Dak throws to CeeDee Lamb 3 yards short of the end zone. Like, these are all things. If you run those 100 times over and over again, I'm going to say it's more successful than not. Right?
Well, even last night, Josh Allen on that Gabe Davis should have been a touchdown. The choice route where he can go outside or inside. I feel like 9 out of 10 times they are on the same page with that, and it's a touchdown.
100%.
You already mentioned the Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Like, if he catches that easy pass, it's over.
If that's anybody but one of those bum chief receivers, the game's over. Yeah.
And then we'll clip this and we'll tweet it out and we'll have all the simpletons say, oh, still won. Oh, hold that L. Like, I'm a Bills fan. I'm not. Oh, what do you guys know? Still won. I'm not arguing that. It's just, is it sustainable? I don't know. One last thing before we move on. Stuckey from Action Network tweeted this. Eagles will be the first team with a 90% or better winning percentage in Week 13 or later to be a home dog, excluding final week resting starters, since at least 2003. Also, teams with a 90% plus winning percentage or better are 35% against the spread in Week 13 or later over the past 3 decades. There you go.
I like it.
35% is
Shout
what
outs-
we're dealing with.
Shout out
Niners.
Niners.
Dare say 5-star. Are we going to use the sacred words again? 5-star play. In the NFL?
Oh, game of the millennium.
Let's go.
Game-
I love
the
it. I'm on
ult-
it too.
I have 5 units money line full game, 5 units money line first half.
Dylan, can I do something real quick? Because I'm on the Niners. I'm going to go big on the Niners.
Mhm.
But I'm not allowed to do 5 stars. 5 stars is just bad. That's you know what I did for Michigan? I did 4.
Hmm.
I'm going to
Okay.
do 6.9 units on the Niners.
Wow.
5 is banned. No more
Max
5s.
play. Some would say that's a max play.
That's max play.
Hey, some say I already put 4 on the Panthers, but that's just that's
Not
that's
again.
good.
Not again.
This is the perfect time to bet the Panthers, if you're wondering, by the way. Let's move on. I have a game I want to play. So I'm going to name a head coach. You tell me if they're going to get fired. Adam Schefter, you mentioned this before we started recording. I guess Adam Schefter tweeted out something saying, don't be surprised if 7 to 10 head coaches get fired. This is why the Panthers are not going to have a good head coach next season. But anyhow, we don't have to do Frank Reich. He's gone. Let's start off. Easy one. Brandon Staley.
Ooh, gone. He's gone. I'm
It's
surprised
just
he's
like
not
a
gone
matter-
today.
Is this
He
a matter
should be
of
gone today.
do we think they should be fired, or like do we believe it's going to happen?
I think you have the same answer for all of these.
Okay, then yes, Staley. Yes, I think it's going to happen, and he needs to go. It's time.
And that's I do want. I've done a little flip on Staley. I was a big Staley guy. You know, he's a gambler, goes for a lot on fourth down. But the whole tirade about the defense thing, and then the first defensive snap yesterday, having 12 men on the
that
field. I mean, that's poetic
That was
justice right there.
hilarious. That
Also,
was
with
hilarious.
the Chargers. Why did the Chargers draft Quentin Johnson when they just need speed? They just keep drafting the same build receiver. Get some speed on the outside. They have no speed. It's just big guys. It feels like.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Kelvin Benjamin's Popeye's biscuits from tight end kind of guys. Anyhow, Ron Rivera.
Devin Funchess build.
I think he stays.
Really?
Yeah.
That was going to be my answer too. I don't think
No
they'll can
way.
him.
I think he's gone.
Really?
I think he's got to go.
What are they 4-8? Who are you going to bring in to do any better? They'll give it to Bieniemy,
Yeah.
maybe.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah,
would be-
like, it's an easy fix there. I feel like.
Yeah. Okay, I'm changing my answer. I think he's gone.
Have you guys, Connor? It's been years since he's been a Panthers coach. Have you watched a Ron Rivera press conference recently? It is
No, I
painful.
haven't. No, I haven't.
You
Well,
might
there was
need
a
to watch some
couple.
highlights.
I might need to go back and look. The thing is
bad.
that one Panthers year, I feel like he's still riding on it. That's the thing. Everybody's like, remember what he did in Carolina? And now it's like,
So I'm going yes. Dylan, Connor, no.
No.
I'm changing it to yes. I think you're right. Just because Bieniemy's there, like waiting in the loom, and they could be like, oh, Sam Howell, young quarterback. Let's before it's too late. Okay.
Arthur Smith.
Yeah, I think he's gone.
Okay, I'm zagging here. I'm saying no. I think they change the quarterback before they fire Arthur Smith.
Okay. All right.
I think he stays too because
Yeah.
the problem is someone has to win the NFC South, and it looks like it might be the Falcons after
Yeah, and
yesterday's win over the
they're not going to fire him after winning the division. I think they'll make a change at quarterback, obviously, but before they would can him, I think they'll do that.
Yeah, I think so too. Dennis Allen.
Who?
Exactly. Saints.
Oh,
I mean,
that's a tough one.
this is kind of irrelevant. Yeah,
Yes.
I
It
think
feels-
yes.
It feels like whichever coach doesn't win the NFC South is getting fired. All the other 3 are just going to get fired.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think he has to go. I mean, it's been abysmal. Derek Carr's been abysmal. I don't even know. Taysom Hill's the
bad.
quarterback half the time. Who knows what's going on there?
Bill Belichick.
Gone.
You think he gets fired, or
Ooh.
does he decide to leave?
I think the PR statement is he decided to leave,
Yep.
but he got pushed out.
Yeah, I think the PR statement's a mutual thing. Agreed to split ways type deal.
So you don't think? Okay, here's a good question for you guys about Belichick. This isn't going to be like I think I heard Simmons say this today on his podcast. Not like the Popovich thing, where it's like, oh, he'll stick around for Wemby, and he'll still be
Cerruti.
there even
Shout
if
out
they're so
Cerruti.
long. Yeah, it was Cerruti, yeah. And then so Popovich stays for Wemby. Will Belichick stay for this next? If they get in the top 2 or 3, or they're going to draft a quarterback high, do they trust Belichick with this young quarterback who's supposed to be the face of the franchise? Or is that the reason he's gone? And it's like, you know what, clean house, let's start fresh. Because I think there's a good chance they trust him. He's done enough to where he stays.
Yeah, I think they trust him. I think if he does get that quarterback, he does. But, like, let's say they accidentally win too many games. They're, like, the 4th pick, and they're getting Brock Bowers maybe. Then,
No, he's gone. Yeah, I think he'll be gone if that happens.
Yeah, I think that's where it gets interesting. Brian Daboll.
Ooh.
I think I don't think you can keep for what happened last year. You can't just keep using that as like the bullet point where it's like, well, look what we did last year. They're bad.
In his defense, though, like, it's kind of an impossible situation.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it is, but a lot of these coaches are in a terrible situation, and there's no excuse.
Not
Like,
really. Arthur Smith is not in that terrible of a situation.
Yeah, but the Saints situation is pretty grim. Patriots situation is horrible. Yes.
Is the Saints have a good defense, and they're in the worst division in football. They have legit guys like Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara. Like, and they have Jameis Winston. Like, it feels like they should be winning the NFC South.
I still think Dayball's gone.
I don't think he is. I think they give him the benefit of the doubt with Jones going down after they give him that contract. I don't think he's done quite yet.
What if Daniel Jones comes back and they're still bad? He's got to be one of the first ones on the hot seat next year then.
What if they're bad enough where they get a quarterback in the draft, though?
After signing Danny Dimes to this huge extension? Oh, God, that's brutal.
But if they get like the 2nd pick, you're not going to pass up on Caleb Williams or Drake May.
No, you're right. Okay.
Panthers are going to get out. Panthers are going to be like the 5th pick. We'll give the 5th pick to the Bears. We're going to win some games. Robert Saleh.
No.
I think he stays.
Yeah,
I think he's actually
been
been dealt a bad hand.
I think that leash is tight.
Oh, yeah.
I think that leash is tight. It is.
Well, I think they're giving him the benefit of the doubt because the whole Zach Wilson thing, and he's actually not very good. And then you have to bring in Tim Boyle, and then Rodgers goes down the first game.
Zach, bad situation. I also think any quarterback in this Jets system right now is not going to be good. I think it's that bad right now. But is that a coaching thing? Is that just offensive linemen consistently getting hurt?
Well, the thing with the Jets,
I think he stays.
Well, you can point to so many other things besides coaching with the Jets. With a lot of these other teams, like the first place you're looking is the head coach position. And with Saleh, he hasn't really gotten that treatment.
Matt Eberflus.
I don't have an opinion on this. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I would say no.
I think he stays.
Yeah, I had very low expectations for them, so the Bears have exceeded my expectations. I was thinking like 3 wins.
Yeah.
Matt LaFleur.
Oh yeah, he's back. LaFleur's black. But
oh, no, a little race baiting there, Dylan. Jesus.
He's back. He's back next year.
There we go.
I think so too. I think they want to give him another year with Jordan Love.
Man, if they have a really, really bad ending of the season, I think he might be out. But as of now, that Lions win, I think, just won him his job, maybe.
Yeah.
That honestly might be true. I mean, they look pretty good in that game, and there's signs of hope, at least. There's signs of life. A lot of these other coaches, there's no signs of life. So,
thank you.
Moving on, last one, Mike Vrabel.
He's still there.
He's still there.
He'll be there through next year.
I would not be surprised if he left on his own.
This offseason.
After this year, yeah.
Oh, because you said Levis is not his guy, right?
Yeah, I think Carthon came in and kind of played trump card. I don't think he wants to stick around.
I think he'll stay through this offseason, but there's a good chance he'll be one of the first ones gone midseason of next year. By his own volition or not.
Yeah.
But.
Before we get into the DAWG rankings, let's do a quick roundup of the other games, just super, super quick. Steelers 16, Bengals 10. Dylan, your article pick was Warren over 48.5 yards. It hit.
Phew!
But rough for some of the other people, cough, me, that got it at a bad number. But that's on me.
Too.
You gave it to me ahead of time. I should have done it. That's my fault. That's on me. I'm not blaming you. But that game absolutely sucked. Like, the Steelers outgained the crap out of the Bengals. I think they had like 400 yards. They should have just scored 28 plus. I hate watching Steeler football.
Yep.
First game without Matt Canada.
Yeah. Of course they look good.
They were driving them down the field, yeah.
Patriots 7, Giants 10. If you bet on this game, call the hotline.
I didn't watch a single snap.
Just an egregious tank job by both teams. Like, people want to make the joke, yeah, he made the call to make the kicker miss. I think he may have made a miss because that should have gone in. There's no way. It should have gone in.
If you're an NFL kicker, I mean, I know there's Blair Walsh, but under 40 yards should be damn near automatic, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. and it was a little too convenient. I think like Robert Kraft put a little chip in the ball and just clicked wind. Like remember the Buffalo Wild Wings commercials where it would be like, I don't want to go home yet. I wish this game would go to overtime. And so the waitress hits a button and like the court flies up and makes it go to overtime. I think that's what the Patriots did yesterday to make sure they lost that game. Saints 15, Falcons 24. Desmond Ridder gets it done. I mean, we had Saints first half money line in the parlay. Saints stink. I hate the Saints. I hate watching them. That was a classic Derek Carr is just bad game. It just shows you once again he's not the guy. Falcons to win the NFC South, looking really good right now. Colts 27, Bucks 20. Colts somehow just keep winning games like Gardner Minshew. Like when you're scared if you're going against him, you're like, this guy might do something. Like I'm kind of on my toes with him. Baker Mayfield just showed once again, like the kids say, he's mid. He's just a mid quarterback.
Yeah.
Browns 12, Broncos 29. Broncos dominated from the start, got it done early, took care of business. They just handled the Browns every which way. Browns having to go back and forth with quarterbacks. Dorian Thompson-Robinson and P.J. Walker clearly are just not the guys. I think we get Flacco season soon in Cleveland, and I'm excited. I'm very excited for that.
I agree. I think Flacco's up next. And if you look at the Broncos, they've won their last 5. Packers, Chiefs, Bills, Vikings, Browns. Those are some good wins. I really – like I know we talked about them getting trounced, 70-20 by the Dolphins. I did not think they'd turn it around. I thought Russell Wilson was going to be benched in 3 or 4 weeks. I thought Stidham was going to be in. I thought Sean Payton's going to be on the hot seat already. I can't believe it. I can't believe they're here. I got to say.
I can't either. If you look at the AFC wildcard picture right now, we're seeing Steelers, Browns, Colts.
The Broncos might get in over some of these teams. It's nuts.
I think the Broncos and Texans might bump someone.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
You don't think so, Dylan? You don't think
this is Broncos peaked right here? I think
really?
they come back down to earth this week against the Texans.
Ooh,
I do too. I like the Texans. I do too.
I don't hate that. Rams 37, Cardinals 14. Rams dominated this game. I don't understand, like, when you watch the Rams play games like this, you're like, how are you not doing this every week? It doesn't make sense. Like, yes, Kyron Williams comes back, huge addition. Darrell Henderson is just a bad running back. He's just like the Walmart Najee Harris, I would say. But Kyron Williams
Trent
came
Richardson-esque.
back. Trent Richardson, Eddie Lacy. We're getting in
Lacy,
that realm. Yeah. So, but like the Cardinals are somehow worse with Kyler back is the funniest part of all this.
Yeah.
I just think they're a bad team in general.
You said that about the Rams offense. Why don't they do this every game? Well, they don't play the Cardinals every game. It's the Cardinals defense, I think. But
they did play the Seahawks, and they were very underwhelming against the Seahawks defense, which I think is meh at best.
Yeah.
So, last thing on this one, too, Kyler Murray is going to be a fun trade piece for a team in the offseason if they do go for a quarterback and just rebuild everything.
Somebody's going to talk themselves into it. Somebody will be like, oh, look what he did a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Like I said, Minnesota, maybe Atlanta. Who knows? That's
Carolina.
Two teams I'll always bring up. No, please, no. We just get Bryce Young and Kyler Murray, and we're like, let's play Kyler at running back.
Yeah, let's play them both. Yeah, we'll run the double. Brand new offense, yeah.
And they'll just be doing oh my gosh, I'm blanking here.
What flea flickers?
Flea flickers, yeah. Gosh, I'm blowing.
To who? Hayden Hurst, Steven Sullivan.
Flea flickers to each other. They throw it back and they just run like it's backyard football.
Oh my gosh.
Chiefs 31, Raiders 17. Chiefs are just a better team than the Raiders. Yes, it looked a little sketchy in the first half, but Chiefs that's just a classic Chiefs spot where come out slow. They don't care about the Raiders and come and take care of business. Ravens 20, Chargers 10. Chargers are bad. Staley should be fired. We already said that. Ravens, they're what they are.
That Ravens defense, I really watched them for the first time a lot last night. They're pretty violent. They finish tackles. They're always looking for contact. Like that Ravens defense is somebody I don't want to face in January, February. Lamar, though, this is the question I want to ask you guys before we move on. Have you guys noticed that when he runs, a few years ago when he would run, it would be always extending plays, always fighting for the extra few yards. A lot of times on these runs now, he's awkwardly crumbling to the ground. Not like a slide. It's not a normal slide. It's just he falls down and then he looks upset. But he's going down on purpose to avoid contact. What the hell? It looks so awkward.
Yeah, because you're like, oh my gosh, he's going to tear an ACL on those.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's
he's
anytime. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's like he tries to sit crisscross applesauce when he's trying to finish the run. That's literally what he's trying to do.
I feel like if you're a Ravens fan, every time he does that weird fall, you're like, it's the same thing as a Lakers fan when Anthony Davis falls. You're like, oh, yeah, his career's over.
And then it doesn't help that he gets up and slams the ball down like he's mad, and you're like, oh my God, he just tore something. But then he just gets up. It's like, what? So that was the only thing I wanted to say.
He gets mad. He doesn't run for 3 more yards. Do we want dog rankings or Ohio State, Michigan?
Let's go dog real quick. I've been clamoring at the bit for these dog rankings.
Chomping at the bit, some would say.
All right, so dog rankings. I have no basis for this. There's nothing behind it. It's just what my eyes see. Do we want real dog rankings or funny dog rankings first?
Funny.
Okay, funny. And these are all NFL only. Funny dog rankings are actually kind of hard in the NFL.
Yeah. Zay Flowers has to be up there after his
after that
touchdown celebrations, right?
That bouquet of flowers. The PK was pretty cool, but the bouquet of flowers was hilarious.
Funny dog or real dog? Because funny dog, I went a different direction.
Ooh, okay. Funny dog.
Let's go funny dog.
Okay, funny dog. Number 5, Teddy Two Gloves Bridgewater.
Okay.
That's a dog.
That's a good one.
That's a dog.
Because the 2 gloves, and he wore number 50, tried to wear number 50. That's a good one.
And we've all seen the picture of him at Louisville. Horse. Number 4, Bill Belichick.
Is it because of the picture?
We saw the ring video. Yep. We saw the ring video.
Yep.
A little walk of shame for Bill Belichick.
What
Number
a guy.
3, these two are a little controversial, but Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
Ooh.
Number 3, Tyreek Hill, because he went on Cam Newton's podcast and said, I really want to be a porn star after my NFL career.
Yeah.
Also, Tyreek Hill story. When I worked at ESPN, came on First Take, and they had him, ready to go on the show and everything. He had these like neon green, like Pit Viper sunglasses on. No delay. No like delay. Sometimes they put you on like a 10-second delay just in case you cuss or something. They put Jake Paul on a delay. No delay for Tyreek Hill. Goes on national TV. Instant F-bomb. I think he dropped 2 F-bombs on ESPN. What? Producers freaking out. And he was clearly, he had been hitting the Mary Jane a little bit, but Pit Viper's on. Didn't take him off the whole interview. They asked him to take him off, and he was like, I can't do that. So that's all I need to hear. Just hilarious. So funny dog. I think he's deserving of the spot.
Number 2, CeeDee Lamb, just from draft night.
Oh.
That draft night clip will live in history. Every single NFL draft, that will get brought up by every social account. And you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
You know. She's trying to grab his phone. He's like, that ain't for you. That ain't for you. Number 1, the GOAT. I need him to repeat, though. Some are questioning. It's Zach Wilson. He became the dog.
Well, I think that when he tripped over his own feet running out to the huddle, that was probably like the cherry on top of the sundae.
Now, if we're going non-NFL, then it gets crazy because then does Trump get played?
Oh.
Trump might be the all-time. Yeah, it gets crazy.
A lot of dogs out there. A lot of dogs, and it's a really small kennel.
Yeah, and don't worry, I excluded Deshaun Watson and Jameis Winston from this list. I felt like it was bad taste. But Zach Wilson, currently the GOAT of the funny dogs right now. Real dog. We get our real dog rankings. Dylan, this is the one that should be on your Wilkerson model.
Okay, all right. Well, let me go my top 5 first, and they can use it for comparison because I have no. I'll just drive through them. So,
go.
1 Ravens, 2 Cowboys, 3 49ers, 4 Dolphins, 5
teams.
Chiefs. Yeah, those are my dogs. Well, no, not my dog. That's my Wilkerson ratings.
Oh, okay. Well, we can see if there's a little in between there. Number 5 on my real dog, Tyreek Hill. When you watch him, he's just got dog. So he's on both dog rankings. Unreal.
Well, some would say him being on both dog rankings gives him that much more dog. So
double dog, squared.
Double dog delight.
And when you my analysis is when you watch the game, you're like, golly, he's got so much dog in him.
I think that's true.
Yeah. And you watch Tyreek Hill, you're like, golly. Number 4, Max Crosby.
Oh, he's got dog.
Oh, that's a good one.
He should be higher on. That's too low for Max on the dog.
Yeah, I don't know how in order this was. Number 1 is definitely the right.
Wasn't Crosby like the first player all year to play after being listed doubtful, and then he got a sack?
Yeah, and I feel like it made him a little bit more of a dog about that Raiders social clip. It made him a little more of a dog.
Yeah, that's.
Number 3, Christian McCaffrey. I mean,
dog.
the dude just runs with dog. Like you can't bring him down.
I've never seen somebody finish runs like McCaffrey. I was just gonna say, like, he's seeking out contact, lowers the shoulder, and he's like a white guy. People probably look at him weird. They're like, "Oh, this guy can't be a good running back." And then he just bowls him over.
Sneaky off the field dog.
No,
Sneaky
yeah,
off the field.
He's got a good roster.
Taysom Hill too. I mean, he plays every position. He could play DN, he could play linebacker, he could play corner, he could play quarterback, he could play O lineman, tight end. You name it, he can play it. Not many people. He could play punter if you wanted him to.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
He could be. He might be. Number one, it just jumps out on the screen every time. He's getting memed to death on TikTok and everything. It's Isaiah Pacheco. That dude runs like he's got rent due every play.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
That's a good one.
Dylan,
That's good.
Dylan, how'd you like the dog ranking?
That's good. Our dog rankings kind of aligned. Pacheco, he's in my top 5. My top 5 with the Chiefs being number 5. So Tyreek Hill, I got the Dolphins number 4. So it lines up.
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey, yep. 49ers number 3. So one way or another, no matter what way you cut it.
So maybe some stipulation if you're in the top 5 of the Wilkerson ratings, you got to have a dog on your team. There's a little handshake there.
Ravens and Cowboys. That's the only 2 we're looking at.
Well, I will say
CeeDee Lamb, funny dog.
That's true.
Honorable mentions: Lamar Jackson.
You have to have him.
Yep. Jahmyr Gibbs, another honorable mention. I think he can get there. Gardner Minshew, just another dog. And then I can't believe I'm saying this: Sam Howell.
Love it.
Yeah, I love. I'm hitching my wagon to Howell in the Commanders. Maybe not a great choice, but that's where I'm hitching my wagon for the next couple of years.
He had that rushing touchdown. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? It was 2 weeks ago when he just got nailed at the goal line and then barreled back in again, and he kept going. He just gets nailed and gets back up. Love that. Honorable mention, Karter. I know he's retired. Would Ryan Fitzpatrick be anywhere near this list?
Ooh.
No.
The dog? No dog there? Okay. All right.
No.
Okay.
I'm tired of seeing him on my TV. I'll put that out there.
You more tired of seeing him or Jason Garrett?
Oh, that was bad.
Garrett's tough.
Bad last night.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Bad. Like, I've had to watch Notre Dame games this year. Like, you remember Notre Dame, Ohio State, and stuff like that. And you're just like, why do Notre Dame fans deal with this? Like, just kick him off. He's bad. Anyhow, he might be the next Duke football coach. Just watch out. Little birdie out there. Jason Garrett, the next Duke football coach. Just be ready. College football, Michigan. They did it. Michigan 30, Ohio State 24. Dylan, the Michigan men do it once again, 3 in a row.
Yeah, never really a doubt. The one thing that I want to take away from this is that the cheating is obsolete. Alleged cheating is obsolete because this will go down when we win the national championship as the cleanest national championship in history. Everybody's up top just watching little old Michigan. Now, make sure we're not cheating. Make sure we don't have anybody at the games, right? And it doesn't even matter, right? We play big boy ball. We run it down their throat. And everybody here in Columbus wants Ryan Day on a stake, executed publicly, chop his head off in the town square. Everybody. There is nothing that makes me happier than knowing we just eliminated Ohio State from the playoffs, right? Last year, there was a chance. This year, no chance. There is no chance they make the playoffs. And as a Michigan fan, it's one of the sweetest things ever. Now, if you want college football analyst, Dylan, I want to talk about Ryan Day for a little bit, right? Because everybody here is saying, hey, this guy shouldn't have a job, right? This guy can't beat Michigan. He needs to be fired. There are plenty of teams out there that would kill for 11-1. 11-1 is not a bad college football season. Took you to a playoff last year. I understand beating your rival is important. When Jim Harbaugh sucked at Michigan, I was team keep him here, give him some time. Like, it's not that big of a deal. We were 10-win seasons. I'm okay with that, right? So the whole Ryan Day thing, I think we should step back. But the game itself, the only time I was nervous that game was, I think it was the third quarter.
When they bullied it down. It was bully ball.
Oh, they played Michigan ball right back at us, and they just ran the ball right down our throats. 5, 6, 7 minute drive that ended in a touchdown. And at that point, you're like, oh, that is not good, right? But there was we switched things up, which I really enjoy. We got Orgy in there at quarterback a couple times. Some quarterback design runs. If you remember RG3 in the ECU game, Orgy rushing touchdown, Orgy in the end zone. That's what we have to look forward to.
Everyone.
Orgy in the end zone. That's what we have to look forward to in Michigan football.
Can you make the dog rankings just based on name alone? The college dog rankings?
You kind of have to, right? And that if JJ leaves, I don't see why he would leave after this year. But if he does leave, that's our starter. very exciting times for Michigan, but the job's not done. At this point, it's not about Ohio State anymore. Ohio State is just another game on the schedule. We're worried about playoffs. We're worried about national championships. Ohio State's just a small – it is 1/12 of our season at this point. It used to be a big thing when we lost 11 in a row. Now they're just a little baby at the end of our schedule, just a little tiny itty-bitty pebble on our way to the greatness that is a national championship. So 2 years ago, I would have said, Ohio State's all I care about. Now, we're national championship level now.
Bigger and better.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the college playoff scenario. It's a really tough shakeup for how Ohio State gets in. It's really, really tough. But on the Ohio State front, Kyle McCord showed he's getting forced out of Columbus.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, you pull up your TikTok, it is Ohio State fans being like, why did we lose? Quinn Ewers win.
Yeah.
It's like the sad music where it's like, you're always on my mind. It's like sad music and it's Quinn Ewers in Ohio State jersey. It's like, come on.
Kyle McCord was so bad in that game. Bad in that game. Like, yes, he had a couple nice throws to Marvin Harrison, but also you're throwing to the best receiver in college football by a mile.
Yeah, that was the first thing I was going to say on this game is I never really felt too worried Michigan was going to lose. Besides the one drive, we all texted each other to where it was like that one bully ball drive. I was like, But when McCord had the ball, chance to win it at the end, I was confident in Michigan winning. I was like, they're going to stop him. I was like, something's going to happen. He's going to throw a pick. He's going to get sacked. He's going to lose the ball. I felt confident on that last drive. I really did, like eerily confident. Maybe if I was a Michigan fan, I'd have felt different. But just as somebody who's just unbiased watching the game, I knew McCord was going to make some mistakes. And he's not on the dog list. He is banned from the dog list after that game.
No. Big time anti-dog. The problem with Kyle McCord or this whole game in general, like betting Michigan, I was so nervous for that because I had just gotten destroyed. And it wasn't like the Michigan part. Like looking back, you're like, oh yeah, like even the Penn State game, like we talked about this. They were always in control, wasn't worried, whatever. But I had just gotten murdered in college basketball, guys. Murdered. I mean, left, right, straight. I just got destroyed. My sweet brain, everything just destroyed. Mentally, I was weak. I was dead. BYU was saving my life. And the only, Michigan, I was just like, I've had such a bad week. This is how it's going to happen. It's going to be a freaking Marvin Harrison touchdown to end the game. They're going to win 31-30. I was nervous. I'll say I was nervous. But
that was what I was going to ask you guys. Did you guys really, in your heart of hearts, did you see Kyle McCord leading that game-winning drive down the field and Ohio State winning on a walk-off? You guys really felt that? I never felt that.
I don't know.
50-50?
I was more confident in our ability to extend that last drive. I'll say that. I was more confident in that. When they got, and I was watching with Ohio State fans, so part of it was the fear that if they do pull it off, that I have to deal with them pulling off a last-minute drive and everybody going crazy. So, but you're right. I really shouldn't have because Kyle McCord just doesn't have that in him, right? And I want to address something. Michigan's strength of record, number 1 in the nation. Number 1 after all this strength of schedule crap, strength of record, number 1 in the nation.
Well, you had to beat them first. That's why you got there. That's why we always said, we just need to see if they can beat these teams, and they did. And guess what? Penn State, I was on Michigan. Ohio State, I was on Michigan. Maryland, we were all like, hey, look at spot, trap. We called it. Dylan, I've been right with you the whole time. I don't want to hear it. Yes, Bowling Green doesn't wow me. Well, UNLV, yes, they're 9-3, 10-2, whatever. Mm-hmm. They're Mountain West. It doesn't really wow me. But guess what? Beating Ohio State, winning at Penn State, that wows me. That impresses me.
Well, yes, you're right. But let's also consider who Ohio State's playing FCS schools, right? So it might not wow you, but compared to, Alabama's playing Chattanooga. If we're comparing apples to apples here, I understand ECU is not the cream of the crop, but we got teams playing FCS schools, Karter. We got teams playing FCS schools, and you're getting mad at Michigan for playing Bowling Green. But besides the point, Karter, we made it. We won. We're probably going to the playoff.
It doesn't matter.
Everybody join hands. Join hands, everybody. Come on. We're here. It's a podcast. We didn't get clowned because there was the potential for that.
That could have been bad.
It was. I was nervous about the TikTok, but guess what? No one likes a comment after the win. So.
Oh yeah, they all
real quiet.
Yeah, everyone's quiet. Everyone's quiet out on the
Ryan Day Lover 69 on Twitter. He doesn't have a lot to say after they get beat, but man, are they talkative before the game.
Last thing. College football playoff scenario. So if you're not watching, you're listening right now, I'll quickly read through it. If you guys have it up on your phones or your computers over there, I'll read through it really quickly. This is the chaos scenario that everybody kind of wants or kind of doesn't want, depending on who you root for. Michigan wins the Big Ten. Florida State wins the ACC. They go 13-0. Alabama wins the SEC, defeats Georgia in the SEC title game. Oregon wins the Pac-12 against Washington, goes 12-1. Texas wins the Big 12 against Oklahoma State and goes 12-1. Georgia loses the Bama game, goes 12-1. Washington loses the Pac-12 game, goes 12-1. Ohio State, they're done. They're 11-1. That's the chaos scenario. That's 8 teams, only 4 can get in. My question to you guys is, if that does happen, what is the result of that? What would you believe? What would be the college football playoff in your mind?
This is tough because the committee has all these parameters and they're very, very vague about it, and they're vague on purpose about it, about what they want to include when they're putting these teams in. In this chaos scenario that we're looking at right here, I don't think there's any way you could put one of these one-loss teams that didn't win their conference in a college football playoff in this scenario. So Georgia out, Washington out, Ohio State obviously out. So that leaves 5 left. And if you're talking about big games, games that matter, first of all, Michigan, Florida State, they're in. Haven't lost. You can't penalize Florida State. Sure, they're not one of the best 4 teams if you really want to get into it. That's not what the college football playoff is. They're 13-0.
But the committee is consistently saying we're putting the best 4 teams in.
They're saying that.
They're not going to.
That's what they keep saying.
They're not going to leave out an undefeated Florida State, even without Jordan Travis. So Michigan, Florida State, those are my first 2 in. I think Bama gets in because they win the SEC, beat Georgia. And then if you're talking big-time wins, games that matter, that Texas win over Bama will put them in over Oregon, beating Washington. So I think it's Michigan, Florida State, Bama, Texas. That would be my 4 in this scenario.
Let me combat the Texas talk is because their loss to Oklahoma is worse than Oregon's 1 loss at the road at Washington. And Oregon wins on a neutral field against Washington, rights that wrong.
You think so? I still think they look at that Texas-Bama game as like, this is the best win because Bama's better than Washington. The Bama's in the playoff. Texas beat Bama. I think they view that in a higher standard. Now, I don't know what they're actually going to do, but that would be my 4 in this scenario. Michigan, Florida State, both undefeated, both conference winners. Bama, SEC winner beating Georgia. Texas, Big 12 winner. That win over Bama gets them in over Oregon. That's my 4. So Dylan, Carter, take it away.
This is when I start enjoying talking about the college football playoff. I don't really like doing it up until now because there are so many things that are to play out. And now we have a pretty clear picture. There's like 8 teams that could possibly get in. The big question, Carter, that's why I was so surprised when you said that they say they're getting the best 4 teams in, right? Because the best 4 teams is a lot different than the 4 most deserving teams. If you're going to
Georgia gets in if it's the best 4. Georgia gets in no matter what if it's the best 4 teams.
Exactly. If we're going 4 best teams, Florida State doesn't have a spot here, right? If we're assessing how the
that's the issue. Like from a fan's perspective, as a neutral college football fan, I don't want to see Florida State because anybody they play out of these 7 teams, maybe Washington's a little different, but they're going to be a 14 to 17 point underdog in all of these games.
Oh,
on a neutral
100%. Washington is an underdog to probably 6 or 7 of these teams that are up here. That's just
outside of Florida.
It's just the nature of how this goes, right? So if we're going purely who has the best resume in this situation, you have to put Michigan, you have to put Florida State.
You do.
Yeah, you have to put Alabama,
the winner of the SEC. You have to put the winner of the
they
SEC.
love the SEC.
I think you have to put Georgia. I think
you have Georgia
to
over Texas and Oregon.
I think you have to. And it also depends how everything sorts out, like because they go by how teams are ranked at the end in terms of like how good the wins are. But they demolished Ole Miss, right? They beat Missouri, by 2 possessions. And these are teams that are all Mississippi's ranked 11th right now in the AP. Missouri's 9. Tennessee probably won't be ranked. So, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell. But if you want my honest opinion about Florida State, the committee has gone on record when Jim Harbaugh got suspended, when Brock Bowers got injured, that they are going to give those, if they were to lose a game, right, they would give those teams leeway if they knew Brock Bowers was going to be back by the time the playoffs started. So I think you have to do the same thing with Florida State. Is if you see a drop off by the time Jordan Travis leaves for the rest of the season, knowing he's not coming back, you have to assess Florida State as what they are right now, even if they are undefeated. I don't think they will keep them out because it will cause an uproar, but you guys are exactly right. Florida State is an underdog to every single team on this list, and some. They're an underdog to Missouri.
Probably double digits to even Washington.
Oh my gosh, yes. It stinks because it's not Florida State's fault, right? I think that this probably solves itself by losing to Louisville this weekend, but it's tough. That's a tough situation for the committee. But from this, I'm going Michigan. Got to go Florida State, Alabama, Georgia. Oregon's schedule, sneaky. Their best win was Oregon State. Like, not that impressive.
But they would have, in this scenario, they would have Washington.
Yeah.
But I don't. You're right, but it also depends how much they beat them by. If it's a field goal win, I think that plays a big part in it too. But yeah.
But okay, in that other, like, going back to that, should Bama be punished for almost losing as a 14-point favorite to Auburn?
Sure, I don't think it matters.
Or should they be punished, not playing well against USF earlier in the season?
I mean, then we're really getting into the weeds because then you're gonna have to go every game for every team is like how they play in this game. Then you're like really getting into it. But they might have to in this scenario. Like, who knows? Carter, let's hear your four, Carter.
I'm going. Gosh, I hate this because you have to put Florida State and Michigan, obviously, duh. But Florida State, you have to put them in there. You have to put the winner of the SEC. So if it's Bama, it's Bama. Probably Oregon.
Really? So we're all split on the fourth team.
I think they probably put Oregon in there. And,
so you think,
but
see, yeah, because like Oregon's, but this was my whole argument. Oregon's loss to Washington, that's worse than Bama's loss to Texas. That would be my thing. And Bama won the conference.
But Bama's in this scenario is what I'm saying.
So you're kicking Texas out. I think Texas's win. I think Texas's win over Bama is better than Oregon's win over Washington.
But Texas's loss.
That is true.
See, Oklahoma. That's a good point. That's what's going to kill them because Oklahoma, if they make it to the Big 12 title game and Texas gets the right there wrong, Texas really needed BYU to win on Saturday because if Texas comes in and demolishes Oklahoma, I think that Oklahoma loss is just done in their mind. I think that looks looked at totally differently. Gosh, I'm having a stroke.
So the committee's already set the precedent that Alabama's below Texas, right? Because they beat them. So is the Alabama win against Georgia, you guys are saying that's enough for them to jump that hurdle?
Yes.
I think I agree with that too. I do. I think you know what? I think they leave Florida State out. I don't think they put Florida State in. I think they leave them out.
The committee, they will be on the most wanted list in the United States. They leave out undefeated Florida State. There will be a riot. Oh my God.
I think they do. I think they leave Florida State out. I'm changing my mind. I'm going Michigan.
Florida State gets to claim national champions like UCF.
Yeah, the state of Florida, home to the pseudo-national champions, UCF and Florida State. I think I'm going Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, Oregon.
Wow. There we go. Now, real quick fire. What do you want the college football playoff to be? What would be the most fun one in your mind?
I think best four teams, in my opinion, that I would love to just see in the college football playoffs. Give me Michigan, give me Bama, give me Georgia, and sneaky, give me Oregon. Give me those four teams in the playoff. That would be my 14 playoff. Yep.
So I don't have Bama in there. I don't think Bama's one of the four best teams out of this group. I think we saw that on Saturday against Auburn.
You don't think they're four?
We've seen it all season. I don't think they're four. I think Texas is a better team than them.
Oh, yeah, true. No, that's true.
What I want the college football playoff to be, I want to see Georgia versus Texas, and then Michigan versus Oregon. I think those are awesome games.
I want going from 1 to 4, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama.
I would love to see Michigan.
Oh my gosh!
Awesome.
If Ohio State somehow gets in with all these scenarios, like there is some jerry-rigging or whatever gerrymandering thing going on, like something weird's happening.
But Carter, the thing is, I would want to actually, Dylan, you want to respond to that real quick because I'm about to change it.
No, you go ahead. You're good.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say me wanting Alabama in there in the last four, in my opinion, I would just want that because if they don't get in, do you know all the Bama fans are going to be like, we easily would have won that and this and this and this. I want them to get in just so they get put in their place. That would be my fourth team. I really think so. So Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, Bama would be my
So okay, let's entertain this possibility, right? Michigan wins Big Ten championship. Florida State loses, they're out. Alabama loses, they're out. Oregon loses, they're out. So you have Michigan, Georgia,
Texas,
Washington.
Okay.
Then it's between Texas and Ohio State.
So you think if Texas drops the Big 12 championship, Ohio State gets in?
What if they win by field goal
No.
and Ohio State's only loss is by 6 in Ann Arbor to the, at the time, number 3 ranked team in the country, at this point would be number 2.
I don't think they punish Texas in the Big 12 title game.
With a loss to Oklahoma?
Yes, because I think we saw it last year. They didn't punish TCU for losing to K-State in the Big 12 title game. And even if Texas wins that game in that scenario, they're in over Ohio State.
The only scenario Ohio State gets in has to be a Florida State loss, a Bama loss, an Oregon loss, and a Texas loss.
Yes.
That's the only way.
All right.
I actually sneaky. Even if Oregon wins in that scenario, I don't think the Washington-Oregon game really matters to Ohio State as much.
What do you mean?
Because I think if Washington loses, they're going to put Ohio State in over Washington, right?
If Washington's 13-1 Pac-12 champions, no.
No. Washington can't be 13-1 or what?
Or 12-1. Sorry, 12-1.
No. 12-1, but they'd lose the Pac-12 title game.
Oh, and you think Ohio State gets in over that?
Yeah, I think Ohio State would get in over Washington losing the Pac-12 title game.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're in the weeds. But I think I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah. It's giveaway time. It's giveaway time. Let's get this over with. I'm going to do it. I won't let me share my screen right now for some reason. This is being stupid. Here we go. Wait. Do you guys want me to FaceTime you so you can see it?
Yeah.
I trust you.
Yeah, I trust. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. I'll do the noises if we can't.
We have a winner.
Okay.
Should we allow it?
Oh no.
Is it a bot?
Nope.
Is it your brother?
It is a last name Baughan.
Oh shoot! They're all going to unfollow anyway.
Yeah. You know. Oh. All right, we have it. I re-rolled.
Okay.
This is how we're doing it. No joke. I'll send you the picture. We can post it on Twitter. We don't even have to post it on Twitter. I'll text it to you guys, and I can cut out part of the show. Here we go. We're going to split it.
Split the money?
Because this is who won the second one. Dylan, I'd like you to check your phone.
My phone's my camera.
Oh, you're on your phone. Can you read that?
No, but I can pull it up on my computer. I can pull messages up on my computer.
Here we go.
Oh,
Matt.
I see it.
There we go.
Matt Powell.
Boom.
Matt Powell and Kinley won. There we go. Anyhow, giveaway. There you go. I'm happy to pay those two. I'm happy to pay those two. I am. Anyhow, that's it from us. Make sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening. Subscribe, rate, review, follow at Wilkerson A. Dillon, at Connor_Sparrow, at Karter BA, at KarterCast on all social media. Subscribe to the YouTube if you're watching on YouTube right now. Check out CarterCast.com, Connor's NBA player props. Dylan, I better see 5-star misclaiming conferences on CarterCast.com this week.
5-star what?
5-star plays, Game of Millenniums claiming conferences.
Oh, yeah. I'm working my way down. I need to get the graphic out. We need confirmation on the graphic. I need to get the CarterCast risk graphic out.
This is like Napoleon. Dylan's just taking over. I mean, all these different lands. Louisiana Purchase coming up. What's he going next?
Yeah, old Thomas Jefferson.
You know what I'm saying? What Manifest Destiny? Moving out west.
Yeah, there you go.
Connor and I are just Lewis and Clark following along, tailing the plays.
I'll just stay in North Carolina. I'll just stay in my little ACC. Yeah.
I'm out here venturing in Idaho trying to, find the new land.
Shopping through the forest, yeah.
All right, that's it from us. Subscribe to the YouTube. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see y'all Wednesday night, Thursday morning, see when it's posted. We'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.